AskReddit by Wonderful Choice 3927. What movie ending is horribly depressing? $1 Million Baby. I actually expected some Rocky type sports drama, with a poor girl starting from the bottom and becoming the world champion in the end. Well, turned out I was completely wrong. I watched it on a plane. Cried so hard the flight attendant asked if I was okay. Bridge to Terabithia. Never saw the movie. Read the book as a kid. Must have been about 10. Saddest book ever. The Mist, 2007. Even Stephen King was not expecting it, and even said he wished he came up with that ending when he wrote the book. The Road. Man, just fuck that film. This movie, I didn't read the book, is the most terrifying to me because it's the most believable. Other movies that try to terrify you are scary, but they are easy to dismiss because they are some combination of cartoonish or supernatural or fantastical or unbelievable or not relatable. Not The Road. Every scene cuts you right to the bone. You walk away thinking, damn, humans are 100% capable of all that, and it could all be here tomorrow. Steel Magnolias. Southern classic that makes me sob every single time. That movie. When I was a kid and my mom would watch it, I never understood why she cried every time. Then I became an adult and a mother, and now I cry every time. Last time I watched it, my husband and youngest were on the couch as I quietly cried into the pillow. My daughter whispered, "Daddy, why is mommy crying?" He just responded, "Because this movie will always make your mom cry." But we don't say anything and we just have to let her get it out. Then I cry, laugh at Clary's much needed break in tone with Slap Hamelin. Requiem for a Dream. Each character's ending has a unique blend of misery, and the soundtrack makes it even more intense. 100% agreed. Brilliant movie. Watched it once. Will never watch again. Threads. Any leader of a country that has nuclear weapons should be forced to watch that film. This is the true end result of nuclear war, not just the end of civilization. The first generation of British kids born after the bomb can't even speak proper English, but the absolute death of human hope. The Green Mile. Don't put me in the dark, boss. Life is Beautiful. Buongiorno Principessa. Rewatched his Oscar acceptance speech after watching this movie again, and Roberto Benigni's words were so powerful. I would like to dedicate this prize to those, because the subject of the movie, those who are not here. They gave their life in order that we can say life is beautiful. Kids. The entire movie is just fucking depressing and shocking. I also watched that entirely too young. It's such an accurate portrayal of living in Nick being that age at that time. From the wardrobe to the apartments. I grew up there and it was the first time I saw kids that looked like my friends and apartments I had probably been inside in a movie. Everything else in the media was the glamorous version of Nick following rich kids in giant apartments and designer clothes, or poor kids in giant apartments and designer clothes. These kids were real and felt real to me. Mind you, the plot focused on the bad kids on your block, but there are bits that felt like life. Casper stealing the 40 and the weed in Washington Square Park scenes especially struck me as life. Flowers for Algernon. Oh my gosh, I read that story in middle school and it is mildly traumatizing still to this day. I also have a brother on the autism spectrum, so it hits close to home. Hachiko. I can't even bring myself to watch it because I know the story and I have even seen the statue in person. Maybe one day if I feel like I need an ugly cry. Ironically, Where the Red Fern Grows is one of my favorite books, though I can't talk about it without bawling. I have a soft spot for dogs. Edit. The movie is called Hachi, A Dog's Tale. The real dog was named Hachiko. I don't watch dog movies. There is only one exception to this, which is Homeward Bound. Grave of the Fireflies. My daughter laughed at the little girl trying to eat a rock. I think she might be a sociopath. The original Little Mermaid cartoon I saw as a kid in French. She doesn't get the prince and she turns into sea foam. Typical French movie where everyone dies at the end. Funny enough, that stays true to the ending of the original story by Hans Christian Andersen. Dead Poets Society. I watched this with my 17-year-old recently and she was so mad that it took such a dark turn. I got an earful from her for days lol. All Quiet on the Western Front, 2022. I've only rooted for the Germans twice in movies, Das Boot and All Quiet on the Western Front. The original movie is chillingly sad, the newest version is breathtakingly depressing. Here's an oldie that makes me sob. Philadelphia. Brutal movie, just a constant march towards the inevitable. Have you ever watched Ali? Because that is fucking depressing. Ali kid created to replace the child the parents lost, then they toss him, and he goes on a crusade to ask the blue fairy to make them love him. Then an ice age traps him until more advanced Ali dig him out and genetically recreate his mother from whom he's desperate for love for one day only before she dies and then he wills himself to die. I was emotionally drained for like a week. WHOTF comes up with dark shit like that and packages it as a children's movie? I just felt bad for Teddy. American History X. The alternate ending was even more depressing. Derek stares into a mirror and then shaves his head. Manchester by the Sea. Well, the whole entire movie is severely depressing, not just the ending. Toy Story 3. For real, that scene where they are all sliding into the furnace still gets me. It's sort of a metaphor for all of us inexorably sliding toward the end, with the one consolation being that they aren't doing it all alone. A Star is Born. My partner and I decided to watch it for a date night. It was a quiet night. Watch this at the deepest point of my depression. The ending made me look at my garage very differently, and that's when I sought the help I needed. So yes, it's terribly depressing, but it saved my life. The Lovely Bones. I know why they did it, but it made me feel down, which obviously was the point. I read the book and watch the film. Both are so horrible. The thing that happens to the guy isn't at all satisfying. Dancer in the Dark. The last half an hour is sad, but the last 10 minutes are genuinely grim. I have a BFA in photography, specified because BFAs are the ones that make you do the weird artsy conceptual shit, and one of my classmates used Dancer in the Dark in his final large format assignment. He had us sit in a pitch black photo studio with a TV, where we watched the movie in its entirety, going in blind. You knew you were having your portrait taken, but no idea when. The flash went off at the most depressing, anguish-ridden and soul-destroying part of that movie. He made huge prints of our portraits showing our reactions. I had to stare at my own ugly, crying and gut-wrenching portrait for a few weeks while it was on display. Molly and Me. My 10-year-old son can't watch Benji without crying. Sometimes I catch him watching it, all teary-eyed. I asked why he keeps doing that to himself and he says he's trying to toughen himself up.